TimeNoder2 is a daily planner and tracker that has a lot of functionality while being completely free and without ads. This application can be all you need for your daily planning. People came to this application from apps such as TickTick or Todoist, and they find this application easy to use, free, and having all they need. This application also keeps our data private, as it stores it only on the device. Don't worry though, Google is backing up your data every day if you didn't disable this functionality on installing your phone. I will be covering all the application features in this video, so feel free to jump to any sections you're interested in. There are going to be timestamps at the bottom of this video. The tasks page is all that you would expect. You can see your tasks sorted by deadline and priority. You can add a new task by clicking the button at the bottom of the page. You can add a project to the task by selecting already created project or creating a new one. When creating a new project, you can choose a project icon, project color. You can make the project start. Start projects are shown in the top tab bar, making them easy to access. You can choose a project estimate. A project estimate is useful for scheduling. When you assign a 30-minute estimate to a project and later add this project to an event, the event will automatically allocate these estimated 30 minutes. Then you can choose if the project is habit or not. This is linked to the habit functionality. More on that later on. Lastly, you can choose the number of completions per day. This is also linked to the habits functionality. Once you enter the project name, you can create the project. Once it's created, it will be automatically assigned to the task. Then you can choose a task deadline. When you select the deadline time, it will show you two other options. You can choose from already predefined reminders or add your custom ones. There are also extra settings that you can enable. If you enable alarm functionality, it means that the notifications are going to work as normal alarms. When you enable read aloud, it means that when the notifications are going to show up, the app will read them aloud for you. And when you enable nag me, when you clear all notifications, these notifications are still going to persist. And then there is a difference. You can remove task notifications by rescheduling it or completing the task. Event notifications you need to manually disable from the notification by clicking on the disable button. You can also make the task repeat. There is quite a few options for you to repeat your tasks freely. You can add a subtask to the task. You can also change a priority, which determines the importance of the task. You can also set estimate for the task. This is useful when you want to make realistic plans and also when you're scheduling. So for example, when you create a new event and you assign a task with estimate of 1 hour to it, the event will automatically expand to accommodate for it. You can also make a task pinned. This is useful when you have some important task that doesn't have a deadline, but you want to see it on the top. Lastly, you can set a difficulty. This is linked to the reward system of the application. By setting the reward to hard, you get a big reward for the completion. By setting it to trivial, you get a small reward. But of course, you can also add your custom reward for completing the task. And once you enter name, you can create the task. And you can see it in your timeline. You can see your created start project here at the top. You can add an extra section to the project if you need extra nesting. You can assign the task to the section by swiping with the task to the side and selecting the section. You can track the task by clicking on the play button on the right side, but more on that later on. You can edit the task by clicking on the task tile Here you can see all the task attributes that you could define previously with addition of description. Here you can add simple description or more complicated one using full node editor. For example, if I want to do a h3 header, it's going to be h3. If I want to add some subnode, it's also possible. You can of course all the markdown features that you know also. When I save it and go back to the home screen, I can see it here. I can also search for tasks. For example, I can find GGG very easily, or I can find specific tasks for projects that are here, and if I type it, I'll also see GGG. I can also edit projects by opening the drawer and swiping to the sides with the project tile. As you can see, the start projects are appearing at the top. I can also change the order of the start project if I need to. The schedule page is designed for making your creating daily plans easy. You can see that there are a few combinations you can use to create an event. You can assign project, or you can just assign description, or you can assign tasks. Or you can use all the combinations of these if you want to. As you can see below, there is active event that's currently being worked upon. You can add an event by clicking on the plus button at the bottom. Choose start and end of this event. You can choose it with Threadle or using this time range picker. You can also create 2 days event if you need to as well. Then you need to change date if you want this to be for a different date, but by default it stays on the date you are, so you really have to change that. Then there is repetition, which works similarly as with the repeating of tasks. Then you can assign notifications to your event with the same options as we saw before. Then there is selecting of tasks, so you can select up to 7 tasks into your event. And then there is difficulty. Again, work the same way as before. When you create the event, it will then automatically show up in your plan. You can also reorder these tasks or complete them if you want to. Now I will show you how the project estimates work. When you create a new event and you assign to it project with 15 minutes estimate, the event will take 15 minutes. If you add to another project with 30-minute estimates, the event will take 45 minutes. The estimates work similarly with tasks. The warning here shows you that there is an overlap, so you can easily change that. You can also import calendar events into your application. Do that, go here, select calendars, I will do it here, and I will come back. After I imported this calendar, you can see the event from the calendar here. You can modify the event, and it will automatically be reflected in the selected calendar. You can also view your events in calendar view, where you can see 7 days at once or 3 days at once. You can also drag these events if you need to. You can also reflect this plan in selected local calendar. Go here, select sync calendar, select where you want to sync those events into, and it will be automatically saved here every time you make some changes in your plan. You can track a task by clicking the play button on the right side. There you can see at the top your current plan. In the middle you can see your timer status, in what stage you are, if you are in work or break, your current timer status, your current round, and then option to add extra 1 minute to your timer. At the bottom you can see your current task or project you are tracking, and at the total bottom there are controls. There are 2 tracking modes. This is currently work break intervals tracker. It works similarly to Pomodoro technique. You can set your working time, your break time, your long break time, and the number of rounds. There is explanation for it if you need to. There is until stopped. It simply means that you play it, and once you stop it, it's stopped. It doesn't have any breaking intervals into it involved. Then you can enter a full screen page. You can see all that was previously done, but in full screen mode. So it's easier to see the time and it's less distracting. You can modify the timer wallpapers by clicking here, change wallpaper, and there will show quite a few options of wallpapers that you can use for your timer. For example, this now. You can also use this wallpaper as your home screen or lock screen wallpaper if you want to. You can see that choosing this changes the application theme. You can also enable auto do not disturb mode on work time. You click here and it will automatically show you settings where you need to enable extra permissions to TimeNoder. I will go ahead and do that. I went ahead and did that, and when I now change the tracking mode to work break intervals and auto enable silence mode on work time, and I click play, you can see that it will automatically enter silence mode. And when I stopped it, it will automatically leave the silence mode. You can also modify the current events from the timer page if you need to. You can also track different things like projects or sections. Or you can turn nothing at all if you don't want to and you just want to follow the plan. Important thing to also know that if I select a project and I will track for more than 1 minute, it will automatically create event in the schedule for me. I let the timer run for more than 1 minute. When I now stop it and go to the schedule page, you can see that it's here recorded. To access the Eisenhower Matrix, open the drawer and here select Matrix. Just a quick side note, you can change the bottom navigation here later in the settings, so you can directly access your Eisenhower Matrix from the home screen if you need to. I can click on the matrix. I can now see my tasks in a grid. There are two axes, one is time and one is importance, and I'm trying to do as much more tasks as possible in the 1 and 2nd column. In the 3, I'm trying to delegate these tasks, and 4, you're trying to mostly ignore. But to learn more about it, you can go to Eisenhower Matrix explanation here linked. You can also move your task between those two groups, and it will show you 2 options that can happen. Explained here. 1, the application will change deadline and priority attributes to much of that another group, or you can override the default behavior, or let you choose, will ask you which one of these you want to do. You can of course create tasks here and assign it to a specific group if you want to. After some time of working with this application, you can go to Stats tab, where you can see 4 groups that are going to show up. One is for schedule, when you can see when you spare your time from various perspectives, or you can go to task to see what task you did completed in time and split by projects, or you can find more details for projects, for a single project, when you worked on it, or you can select multiple projects also at once if you want to compare projects, for example. And then there is tracking tab. It will show you what you was tracking in history, again with details. Lastly, there is reviews tab, which is connected with notifications. So every day and every week and every month and every year you'll get a notification that you can of course disable if you want to, where you get the summary of where you spend your time, and it will automatically link you to this page so you can reflect on where you spend your time. You can also share it as a PNG. Last but not least, there is habits page, which you can navigate through the drawer and habits, and again you can put it into the button navigation if you want to in the settings. I go to habits page. I can see that I have no habits selected, but I can select habits here that I want to track, for example these ones, and they will show up here and show me history whether I did complete them or not. I can also edit them if I want to, so I can go here and I can see all the history, and I can scroll to the side and edit days in history if I want to. I can easily complete this task by clicking here, or modify these projects here through this drop-down menu. Important thing to note here is that you can complete habits in two ways. One way is to complete them through the Habits tab, as I shown before. Another option is to plan an event in a schedule that has this project assigned to it. As you can see here, I didn't use this tab before, but because I already planned events with these projects assigned to it, they are already completed. I can also change the number of completions per day to have a different effect. For example, if I change it to 5, you can see that the other ones that were previously completed are now slightly more colorful, but not much. On the other hand, if I complete today, you can see that there are changes, so you can easily see on all levels of completion how you completed those habits. Now I will explain the reward functionality of this application. Go to drawer, scroll down, go to rewards. Again, you can put the rewards into the bottom navigation later on in the settings. I go to rewards and you can see history, so you can see a list of events that I did and I received golds for. If I now go up here, I can select reward calculation. Text explain how you can gain your gold. There's going to be maybe some change for habits, as now it's showing up no gold. Then you can go to rewards, so you can see predefined rewards, or you can create our own by clicking on the plus button, select number of golds, choose icon, enter name, and it's going to be created with number of golds on the right side. You can buy it by clicking on the gold on the right side, and it will automatically decrease number of golds you have, and in purchases you will see your record. So this is a way how you can fairly reward yourself for planning and working on your projects. Now I will talk about the app widgets. If you go to open a drawer, scroll down, and there are actually two widgets, Tasks widget and Events widget. Tasks widget is something specific to this application. There you can see a simplified version of the tasks page. Events widget is something different. It's using synchronization with local calendars to our advantage. So if you select a synchronization calendar and sync your events into it, then you can use any Android application that has those Android calendar widgets, and you can use that. These widgets are often very powerful, so that's why we decided to do that. There are actually two options that you can use. They are really good. And now I will show you the final result of that. Here you can see my home screen. At the top you can see the Events widget, which is using section graph. I choose the synchronization calendar to show up in the widget. In the middle you can see the schedule that after a little bit of cleaning up is showing up there. And on the other side of the circle you can see tasks with deadline today. This section graph widget is even cooler for those that have smartwatches, as you can use this widget as your watch face. At the bottom of the page there's Tasks widget, when you can see your task sorted by deadline. There's also a plus button, so you can add another task or using another button to refresh the list. Now I'm going to talk about settings. To go to settings page, open a drawer and scroll totally down, go to settings, and now at the top you can see settings for the timer. There's quite a few of them. Below it you can see calendar settings. You can select calendars that are going to show up in your schedule. Then you can select synchronization calendar. Then you can select the home widget. Below it you can define an application theme. Currently today is dark, but you can also set it to system or light. Then you can go to home layout, where you can change the bottom navigation of your home screen. For example, If I would rather show up instead of statistics a matrix, I can do that. I can also make it as a first route here. If I save this, it's going to show up in the home screen on the first place. Below it, you can change the wallpaper. Again, that's going to determine the application theme. Below it, you can define the notification settings. Below it, you can see that there are reminders that you can disable or enable if you want to. Here you can define, or rather back up your data or import it. And at the total bottom, you can see there is some extra information where you can rate the application, join Discord community, and other things. To get started, head over to TimeNoder2 or find links in the description for individual app stores. Also keep in mind that some features only work on Android. Have a nice day and happy planning.